Now we come to the group of 6 verses. Uruvela Kassapa. This is another one of the Kassapa brothers. 375. Seeing the marvels of the famous Gautama, I did not at once fall down before him, being deceived by envy and pride. This, I think, is the eldest of the 3 Kassapa brothers. The Buddha stayed with them, these 1,000 Jatilas by the banks of the river Naranjara. And I believe the Buddha went to them because they cultivated jhana, had attained jhana. And because of that, this leader, Uruvela Kassapa, he kept thinking he was an arahant when he was not an arahant. And probably he kept thinking he was an arahant because he had some psychic powers, I think. So he was, because of envy and pride, he did not immediately sort of pay respect to the Buddha. 276. Knowing my intention, the charioteer of men urged me on. Then there arose in me strange hair-raising agitation. 377. Then despising what little supernormal power I had previously when I was an ascetic with matted hair, Jatila, I went forth in the conqueror's teaching. So here it confirms that he already had some supernormal power, psychic power. 278. Previously satisfied with making sacrifices, distracted by the element of sensual pleasure. Afterwards, I rooted out desire and hatred and delusion too. 279. I know my former habitation or past lives. My Deva eye is purified. Having supernormal or psychic powers, knowing the minds of others, I obtained the Deva ear. 280. I have obtained that goal for which I went forth from the home to the homeless state, the annihilation of all fetters. So the Buddha stayed with them several weeks, and the Buddha knew it was difficult to teach them because they already had some psychic power, difficult to impress them. So the Buddha, in the few weeks the Buddha was with them, the Buddha showed a lot of psychic power until finally, one day, the Buddha thought when it was time, the Buddha told Uruvela, the leader of the Jatilas, he said, Kassapa, you keep thinking you're an arahant, but you are not an arahant, and you're not walking the path to become an arahant. And he got a shock, it was like a slap in his face. Then when he thought about it, then he realized the Buddha's cultivation was higher. Then he bowed to the Buddha and asked to be a disciple. So he shaved off his long hair, threw it into the river. Then when the other disciples saw his disciple, they all followed suit, cut their hair and threw their long hair into the river. And all their fire sacrifice utensils, which they have been using for umpteen years, praying to the fire, all they threw into the river. And then they became the monk disciples of the Buddha. After that, the Buddha preached one sutta to them. This is the fire discourse. Because they prayed to fire, the Buddha used fire to talk to them. So when they heard fire, and their eyes their ears all paid attention. Then just hearing one sutta, they all attained arahanthood, 1,000 of them. Which shows all of them already had 4 jhanas. Te Kicha Kani. First time coming across this name. 381. The rice is harvested. The rice has gone to the threshing floor, but I do not get any alms. How shall I fare? 382. Recollect the immeasurable Buddha. Believing with your body suffused with joy, you will be continually exultant or happy. 383. Recollect the immeasurable Dhamma. Believing with your body suffused with joy, you will be continually exultant. 384. Recollect the immeasurable Sangha. Believing with your body suffused with joy, you will be continually exultant. 385. You live in the open air. These wintry nights are cold. Do not perish, overcome with cold. Go into your room or cell with its doors fastened. 386. I shall fasten on to the 4 these illimitables, refers to the Brahma Viharas. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. and I shall dwell well pleased with them. I shall not perish of the cold, dwelling unaffected. So you see the first verse, he went to beg for his alms, but he could not get anything. So he came back, stomach very empty, what to do? So he went into the second jhana and suffused the body with joy. So he didn't feel hungry, he's fed with joy. Mahanaga 387. He who has no reverence for those living the holy life with him wanes away from the true Dhamma like a fish in little water. 388. He who has no reverence for those living the holy life with him does not thrive in the true Dhamma like a rotten seed in a field. 389. He who has no reverence for those living the holy life with him is far from quenching in the teaching of the Dhamma King. 390. He who has no reverence for those living the holy life with him does not wane from the true Dhamma. He who has reverence for those living the holy life with him does not wane from the true Dhamma like a fish in much water. 391. He who has reverence for those living the holy life with him thrives in the true Dhamma like a good seed in a field. 392. Quenching in the teaching of the Dhamma King is near him who has reverence for those living the holy life with him. That means for those who have respect for their fellow monks. Kula 393. I, Kula, going to the burial ground, saw a woman cast away, thrown away in the cemetery, being eaten, full of worms. 394. See the body, Kula, diseased, impure, rotten, oozing, trickling, the delight of fools. 395. Taking the Dhamma as a mirror for the attainment of knowledge and insight, I considered this body empty inside and out. 396. As this, so that. As that, so this. As below, so above. As above, so below. 397. As by day, so by night. As by night, so by day. As before, so afterwards. As afterwards, so before. 398. There is not such pleasure from the fivefold music as there is for someone with intent mind, rightly having insight into the Dhamma. As this, so that. As that, so this. I guess this body will become like that corpse. As by day, so by night. And they practice until until they attain the fourth jhana. Then the whole body becomes bright, and there's no darkness. Like most of us, when we close your eyes, you see all darkness. But for these arahants, they close their eyes, it's just like day. Malunkya Putta 399. The craving of a man who practices indolence grows like a maluva creeper. Like a monkey desiring fruit in the forest, he bounds to and fro. 400. Whomsoever this vile craving, this attachment to the world overcomes, his griefs increase like birana grass when rained upon. 401. But for him who overcomes this vile craving, which is hard to overcome in the world, griefs fall away like a drop of water from a lotus. 402. I say this to you, your honours, as many as are assembled here. Dig up the root of craving as one seeking as Usira digs up birana grass. Let not Mara break you again and again as a stream breaks a reed. 403. Do the Buddha's bidding. Let not the opportunity pass you by. For those who have missed the opportunity grieve when consigned to hell. 404. Indolence is defilement. Defilement arises from indolence. By vigilance and knowledge, one should pluck out one's own dart. So if we miss the opportunity to become enlightened, we will go to hell again and again. Because as long as we are in samsara, the round of rebirths, We go up and we go down, and we go up and we go down. So we have a chance to go to heaven, but we also have a lot of chance to go to hell. Sappa Dasa, 405. It is 25 years since I went forth. Not even for the duration of a snap of the fingers have I obtained peace of mind. 406. Not having obtained intentness of mind, afflicted by desire for sensual pleasures, wailing with outstretched arms, I went out from the room. Kuti, 407. Shall I take up a knife? What need have I of living? How indeed should one such as I, rejecting the training, die? 408. Then taking a razor, I sat on the couch. The razor was placed around to cut my own vein. 409. Then reason thinking arose in me. The peril became clear. Disgust with the world was established. 410. Then my mind was released. See the essential rightness of the Dhamma. The three knowledges have been obtained. The Buddha's teaching has been done. So you see this monk, Sappadasa, he ordained 25 years. He could not attain jhana. And he almost gave up, almost thought of committing suicide. Then suddenly when the mind came together and attained jhana, because of his knowledge of the Dhamma, he became enlightened. So it's not easy to become an arahant. You see, 25 years, not even for the duration of a snap of the fingers have I obtained peace of mind. That means not even for a small moment he attained one-pointedness of mind. Katiyana, 411. Stand up, Katiyana, pay attention. Do not be full of sleep. Be awake. May the kinsman of the indolent, king of death, not conquer lazy you, as though with a snare. 412. Birth and old age overwhelm you like a wave of the great sea. Make a good island for yourself, for certainly no other refuge is available for you. 413. For the teacher has mastered this path, which goes beyond attachments and fear of birth and old age. Continuously vigilant, devote yourself, make resolute application of mind. 414. Release old bonds, wearing an outer robe, shaved with a razor and eating alms. Do not devote yourself to sport and delights, nor to sleep. Meditate, Katiyana. 415. Meditate and conquer, Katiyana. You are skilled in the paths to rest from exertion. Having obtained unsurpassed purity, you will be quenched like a flame by water. 416. A lamp with feeble rays is bent down by the wind like a creeper. In the same way do you, kinsman of Inda, not clinging, shake off Mara, rid of desire for things experienced, await your time here, having become cool. So you see, before he was enlightened, he kept encouraging himself, giving himself all kinds of encouragement, not to be lazy. Mika Jala, 417. The Eightfold Path, which was well taught by the one who, with vision, by the Buddha, the Sun's kinsman, which has passed beyond all fetters, the destroyer of all rolling on. 418. Leading on to salvation, crossing over, drying up the root of craving, cutting the root of poison, the place of execution, brings one to quenching. 419. By breaking the root of ignorance, it is a destroyer of the compulsion of action. It causes the thunderbolt of knowledge to fall on the acquisition of the consciousness. 420. Giving information about our sensations, freeing from grasping, by means of knowledge regarding existence as a charcoal pit. Charcoal pit must be hell. 421. Of great flavor, very profound, warder off of birth and death, causing the quieting of pain, blissful. 422. Knowing that action is action, and knowing result as result, showing or casting real light upon the phenomena which has arisen consequentially, leading to great rest, peaceful. It is fortunate at the end. Janta Purohita Putta, 423. Intoxicated by pride of birth and by wealth and position, I wandered intoxicated by the color and form of my body. 424. I thought that none was equal or superior to myself, being a stubborn fool, smitten by arrogance, with a banner of conceit held high. 425. I did not salute anyone respectfully, neither mother nor father, nor others usually regarded as venerable, being stubborn with conceit and disrespectful. 426. Having seen the Supreme Leader, best and foremost of charioteers, like a blazing sun, revered by the Sangha of monks. 427. Having cast away pride and intoxication, with settled mind, with my head I saluted respectfully the best of all creatures. 428. Arrogance and contempt have been eliminated and completely rooted out. Egotism has been cut out. All forms of conceit have been struck down. So he must have gone forth and attained arahanthood. Sumana, 429. When I was newly gone forth at the age of 7, having overcome by supernormal power the king of the snakes, Naga king, who had great supernormal powers, 430. I brought water for my preceptor from the great lake Anotatta. Then seeing me, the teacher said this, 431. Sariputta, see this young boy coming, well concentrated inside, carrying a water pot. 432. He is of pious behavior, of noble deportment, and skill in psychic powers, Anuruddha's novice. 433. Made a thoroughbred by a thoroughbred, made good by one who is good, disciplined and trained by Anuruddha, whose task is done. 434. That novice, Sumana, having come to the highest peace, having realized the state of imperturbability, wants no one to know him. So this Sumana is a very unusual novice. At the age of 7, he already had great psychic powers. He could defeat the Naga king. And then his preceptor, I think this Anuruddha, wanted water to drink. He flew to the back of the Himalaya mountains, to the great lake Anotatta, and brought back the special water to offer to his preceptor. So the Buddha saw him. The Buddha knew his what. But you look at the last part, he doesn't want anyone to know him. Those who are real good monks, they have ability, so they don't want people to know. Nataka Muni, 435, brought low by colic, dwelling in the grove, in the wood, where there is a restricted food supply, where it is harsh, how will you fare, monk? 436. Suffusing this body with much joy and happiness, enduring even what is harsh, I shall dwell in the grove. 437. Developing the 7 constituents of enlightenment, I think the Bojjhanga, the faculties and the powers, possessed of subtlety of meditation, I shall dwell without asavas. 438. Continually considering my pure mind, which has been released from defilements and is undisturbed, I shall dwell without asavas. 439. Those asavas which were found in me, inside or out, are all without exception rooted out and will not arise again. 440. The 5 elements of existence, the 5 aggregates, being known, stand with root cut off. The annihilation of pain has been obtained. There is now no renewed existence. Brahmadatta, 441. Whence does anger arise for him who is devoid of anger, tame, living in peace, released by proper knowledge, calm, venerable? 442. Therefore it is worse for the one who repays an angry man in kind. One who does not repay an angry man in kind wins a battle which is hard to win. In kind means you get anger, you return anger back. 443. He acts in the interest of both, of himself and of the other, who, knowing the other is angry, is mindful and becomes calm. 444. Those who are unskilled in the Dhamma think that he who is a healer of both, of himself and of the other is a fool. 445. If anger should arise in you, reflect upon the simile of the saw. If craving for flavor should arise, remember the simile of the child's flesh. 446. If your mind runs among sensual pleasures and existences, quickly restrain it with mindfulness, as one restrains a bad cow eating corn. So here it says that a person, when he gets scolded, that means a monk, if a monk gets scolded, he should not retaliate, he should remain calm and mindful. But ordinary worldly people will think he's a fool. If you get scolded and you don't scold back, you must be a fool. Worldly people think. And then he says, you should remember the simile of the saw. The simile of the saw, the sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha said, if people are unkind to us, we should not retaliate. We should give them back only metta, loving kindness. And to the extent, the Buddha said, even if you were caught and sawn into half by a two-handled saw, these bandits caught you and they used a two-handled saw and were sawing you in half. If you get angry, the Buddha says, you are not practicing the Buddha's teachings. So this is the simile of the saw. And then the simile of the child's flesh, the Buddha said, whatever we eat, we must always remember it is at the expense of other living creatures. So whatever you eat, you must reflect, it's as though you are eating your own child's flesh. The Buddha gave a simile of this husband and wife with the son trying to cross the desert. There's a very long distance to go. And then halfway, they ran out of food. So if they continue walking, all three of them will die. So what do? Husband and wife decided, let us kill the child and eat the flesh, and then we can continue on our way. So they killed the child and probably use salt to preserve the flesh, and then they continued eating this flesh. But each time they ate the flesh, they cried. They cried because this was the child's flesh. But because in this way they can survive, at least two of them survive. So they managed to cross the desert. So in the same way, the Buddha says, when we eat any food, we should not think of enjoying the flavor. Whatever food we eat, it's always at the expense of some creature. Even if we take vegetarian food also, you reflect, because of our wanting to take vegetarian food, some maybe monkey is killed, some squirrel is killed, maybe some kangaroo is killed, some rabbit is killed. So we are not free of this indirect killing. So the Buddha says to remember the simile of the child's flesh. Sri Manda, 447. It rains only on the covered. It does not rain on the open. Therefore, you should open the covered. Then it will not rain on it. 448. The world is smitten by death and surrounded by old age. It is beset by the dart of craving. It is always obscured by wants. 449. The world is smitten by death and enclosed by aging. It is beaten continually without a refuge, like a thief who has received his punishment. 450. Dying, sickness and aging. These three approach like huge fires. There is no strength to comfort them. There is no speed to run away. There is no strength to comfort them. There is no strength to counter them, to stop them. 451. One should make one's day not unproductive, whether by a little or by much. Every day and night one passes. One's life is less by that much. 452. The last night approaches for you, whether you are going or standing, sitting or lying. There is no time for you to be indolent or lazy. This rains on the covered. The covered means what we hide. And open is what we don't hide. So if we hide our defilements, then it multiplies. So the last part, don't waste our days and nights. Days and nights. We don't have many days and nights. We are using up our days and nights one by one. Sabakama 453. This two-legged, impure, evil-smelling body, full of various corpses, oozing here and there, is cherished, is loved. 454. As lurking deer with a snare, as fish with a hook, as a monkey with pitch, so they trap an ordinary individual. 455. Namely, pleasant sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and things to touch. These 5 strands of sensual pleasure are seen in a woman's form. This is for the monk. 456. Those ordinary individuals who with impassioned minds pursue them, fill up the terrible cemetery, they heap up renewed existence. 457. But he who avoids them as one avoids a snake's head with one's foot, he being mindful overcomes this attachment to the world. 458. Seeing the peril in sensual pleasures, recognizing going forth as rest from exertion, detached from all sensual pleasures, have obtained the annihilation of the asavas. So we can stop here for tonight, and anything you'd like to discuss? As you proceed now with this Theragatha, you find the number of verses increase, and then towards the end, then you get the overall picture. Where the Arahant tells the whole of his experience. And No. The Bhojangas are factors of enlightenment. If you practice the 7 Bhojanga, you become enlightened. The health one in what we chant is that because these 7 factors lead you to enlightenment, the Arahants, they value these 7 factors very much. So like when the Buddha was sick and he was feeling very low, then he asked the monks to chant the 7 Bhojanga for him. So when they chant the 7 Bhojanga, he felt so happy that the sickness disappeared. Sickness is more of a state of mind. If you feel that you are sick, no? Then nowadays doctors say a lot of sickness comes from the mind. If you are happy, then you won't feel sick. Sometimes you see, we are working. Sometimes we are working, and happens many times. You get a deep cut, you know you got a deep cut. You are so busy working, you don't even think about it. You don't feel the pain. But after you finish all the work, then you wash your hand or wash your feet, and then you feel the pain. You want an explanation? It can be both, because his sensual desire arose. So this flowing can be flowing of the asavas, or the defilements, or the flowing, all the liquids coming out of the rotting body, the 9 holes in the rotting body. There's a name for it, necro something. Even this, some people with lust, they will make love to the corpse. Which one?
350 to 354 Venerable Mahali.
Yeah.
Because it means prior to his
while he was practicing, in the grove, and there the conditions are quite harsh. The food is restricted, that means quite insufficient, just enough only. Then he was asking himself, how are you going to fare here? But then he put forth energy. He developed the 4 intense states of mindfulness, the faculties, these 7 factors of enlightenment and all that. So having practiced, then only he became concentrated and tame. Yeah. Huh?
He was sick and he used the knife on himself.
Could be, but this one is before he was.
Looks like before he was sick.
Yeah. But here it doesn't say he attained enlightenment. It says he put forth energy and he practiced these things. So fusing the body with much joy and happiness. That means he attained the 2nd jhana at least. So here he doesn't mention he's enlightened, so he's just practicing hard only.
Okay, one question. Maybe by reading the Theragatha, we find that most of the young arahants, those who attend the Mahathera, they tend to pass on just young.
But it's not stated in the suttas. It might be in some later books, so it's not reliable. Yeah.
So, because a few of I find that they do not find any more purpose to live on.
No, I don't think so. They say they await their time. So, there is a few mentioned that passed on, like Sariputta and Moggallana before the Buddha. But
much younger than
No. There's no general evidence of that in the suttas. Whatever later books say, it's not reliable, so no point to take that. See, like Mahakassapa was older than the Buddha, and he was still around after the Buddha passed away. Ananda was the same age as the Buddha, and he survived longer than the Buddha. Okay, shall we end here?